everybody, this is Freddy with Freddy Can Fly, and today's video is going to be a follow-up on a previous video that I've done about removing Loctite from your helicopter, Loctited screws if you will, without stripping. I've came up with one more method for you guys, and this one I actually have to give a shout out to my good friend Nitro Kyosho. He's got a YouTube channel, he's a really great guy. So with that being said, you guys, this method works from a 250 up to a 700, even 800 class, but I recommend it for maybe like a 550 and up. So with that being said, guys, let's take a look at a way to remove extreme Loctite applications. Alrighty, you guys, so essentially what we're going to try to achieve here today is removing Loctite in the most extreme conditions, and what I refer to by that is once again on a larger class heli, over Loctiting of certain components, especially your main components, the ones that take the most force. How to remove the Loctite on those successfully without any damage, stripping, or any things of that nature. So getting into it here, guys, this is going to be your key component. Now what this is essentially it's a butane, they call it a pen torch, a mini torch, whatever you want to call it. And what I did was I went to a local home improvement store, or I believe they even have these in like automotive stores. And what it is, essentially, guys, to give you a real quick demo, is it's easy as you turn it on, you light it, and you've got a flame that can be adjusted higher or lower. Okay. Now, first thought with something like this is, you know, Freddy, this can be dangerous. This can be potential hazardous to both myself and my machine. So before we get into this, guys, I want to do a little disclaimer here. At no point in time am I going to be responsible for any personal injuries or damage to your machine if you misuse or attempt to try this. So with that being said, if you guys want to proceed to watch this video and attempt this, please know that it's at your own risk, okay? Now, on the flip side, it's actually really safe. There's really no potential danger involved. Just know, proceed with caution, okay? And as always, guys, you're going to want to keep an acid brush and some isopropylene 90% or higher alcohol so you can clean the screws and reapply them, or clean the surface that we're going to reapply so that you don't have to replace the parts unless it's that time of the month or year that you're replacing the parts on your machine, okay? So with that being said, I've got 3 examples set up for you today. First one I'm going to use, and I think it's going to be a great example, is this is the clutch bell, pinion, and starter shaft assembly of a Nitro machine. This is your bell crank and elevator anti-rotation setup that's typically on an Align 700 Nitro, which this one's going to have a little bit of a different method but kind of still applies to the same rules. And we're going to shoot for the main bearing blocks. We'll go over one example at a time, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started with the clutch bell assembly, and I'll show you guys my method for safely removing something that is typically red Loctited or extremely well Loctited. Alrighty, guys, so here we go. Looking at our first example here, we've got the clutch bell slash starter shaft assembly, right? And we're going to take a look at this top bolt first because we got to remove this to get to the bottom pinion. Okay, once again, this is an Align 700 application for Nitro. But so this bolt is typically pretty well Loctited, if not red Loctited, which can be, you know, red Loctite's not our friend. It's really hard to remove. It's there for life. So I've went ahead and already kind of tested this, and I've tried turning it, and I mean, it's on there. It's really on there. I'm not going to test the waters too much and end up causing damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the safe road and make sure it's done right, okay? So with that being said, guys, safety in mind, let's go ahead and let's light our little torch. Bear with me here. Okay. Let it get kind of warmed up here. Now, essentially, guys, all we're going to do is we're doing a metal-to-metal application. So it's actually safe to kind of just apply your heat wherever, but I try to get it directly on the surface that the Loctite would be applied to. And I try not to leave it in one spot for too long. You notice I'm kind of moving in a circular fashion around that, and around that lock nut there. And try not to get a direct flame on it. I like to use the heat from the flame to heat up the metal. Now, any of you smart guys out there know that metal transfers heat very fast and very efficiently, and it stays hot for a good extended period of time. So it does not take much to get this metal really hot, especially this T3 aluminum, which a lot of this aircraft is made out of. So use your judgment, guys. Get that nice and hot. Kind of approach it from different angles, and just get her nice and warm. Don't hold it on here for too long. We're not looking for burning hot red metal, okay? Just enough to get that nice and hot. Let that Loctite kind of loosen up a bit, and I feel like right there feels pretty good. That's actually singeing my fingers there. That actually hurt pretty good. So on camera I just hurt myself for you guys. Alrighty, now real quick caution tip, if you need to use a towel or something to grab this, you can. My clutch bell didn't get too hot, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Now I've got my little tool. Now guys, watch how cool this is, okay? Now it's probably still going to be a little tough, but if you give it a good little nudge, there it is right there. Okay, nice and easy. Feels really firm because all that Loctite's kind of rusted on there, and it's getting a little tough, and there we go. So bolt has been successfully removed. Now guys, I tried prying this off with all my life before. It wasn't coming off. This thing's pretty damn hot. I'm afraid to touch the pinion or the bearings, but the bolt has been removed successfully. Now here's the important part for me, guys. You know how I work. Let's go ahead and see if we can get these bearings off. Woo! Those are nice and hot. Sorry, guys. Let's go ahead and take those bearings off. Now everything's nice and hot, so to cool it down, I'm going to go ahead and take my rubbing alcohol, as always, clean all surfaces that are going to be reapplied with that 90% isopropylene alcohol. Make sure everything's nice and clean. As a further note, I'm going to go ahead and saturate this really well with alcohol. Take my nut, which is really hot, be careful guys, and I'm going to thread it on and thread it off and on and off, and try to just clean those threads the best that you can, because I'm not going to waste this bolt. It's still in perfectly good health, and it's reusable in every sense. You know, it would be silly to buy a new one unless you feel that you need to, right? So I'm just going to clean those threads like crazy. I feel really good with that. Get your handy napkin out, clean that surface off. Clean our bolt, and phase 1 has been completed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this one up. Now with this kind of a part, once again we're facing metal to metal. Get my torch going here. These little torches are really cool, guys. I enjoy the hell out of this thing. It's the coolest little tool ever. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try to aim for the point in which the threads are, which it actually threads down into the clutch belt. Okay, and I'm feeling comfortable there. Go ahead and turn your torch off, set it away from you nice and safe, okay? Now I'm just going to use a real quick paper towel. That should actually work. Zoom out here, bear with me. Alright, so here we go. Let's see if this works. Woo! Oh, I've singed my fingers off to death, guys. I barely feel anyways. So, for those of you out there, take my advice. Don't do that, okay? Be really careful. Be really safe. Now, part's nice and hot. And once again, guys, my vice clamps, if you use this method for this particular application, they're set to just fit over that pinion ever so gently, and they line up with those teeth. Now, I'm going to give it a real quick hard torque. Here we go. There it is, right there. Nice and easy. Okay, check this out. Spins almost right off, okay? That Loctite's nice and warm. Okay, now once again, guys, I'm going to hold on to this with my vice clamp. Let's try to get this all on camera so you guys can see everything. Let's go ahead and let's I'd already dipped my thing, my acid brush here in alcohol. Scrub those threads real good, real quick. And then let's saturate them really well. Piece is really hot. Try to move fast. Ooh, can't do it. Ah, there we go. Okay, let's thread it in, thread it out. In and out, and in and out. Just really clean those threads, guys. Loctite over time can be really hard to clean out. I'm feeling really good with that. Okay, woo, that clutch belt gets really warm, you guys. If your magnets are installed, be really cautious. Make sure you double check everything, and just make sure that your magnet epoxy hasn't came loose or anything. Mine still feels really good. So at that point in time, this particular application, I'm going to set it to the side, let it cool down. Let's take a look at a lighter application. Now, with the lighter your application gets, the less heat and the less time you need to heat it for. So be very careful, parts get hot. Okay, I'm going to try to do this quick with my fingers because that metal's burning the hell out of them. Here we go, I'm going to give it a real quick torque. Nice and easy, get firm. Here we go. Ooh, it's nice and hot. Oh, there it is. Ooh, gosh, that one came out like silk, man. Just like silk. Boom, slides right out. So, dip it in alcohol. Get this on camera for you. Thread it in, thread it out, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. Just really work it, work hard at it. And try to clean that Loctite out the best you can because we're going to reuse this ball. There's no reason to waste it. Napkin it off. Get all that Loctite, the rubbing alcohol to evaporate. And then I just kind of put the ball back in, nice and loose so I'm ready for reassembly. So that's a lightweight application. Now let's take a look at a good method for doing the frame. Real quick prep tip for you. Metal into metal, yes, but we've got carbon fiber and other things interacting here, so we don't want to ruin our frames, obviously. So what I do simply is I create what's called a heat shield, or I get some just aluminum foil works. If you've got some really pliable sheet metal, whatever you want to do. And essentially all I do is I just take if you got a spare screw laying around, one for the frame or the application you're working on. And what I'm going to do basically is I'm just going to punch it through the tin foil, create the shape of the screw so that I've got somewhat of a diameter. Now I can place the tin foil over the screw, heat the screw, but not heat anything around the screw. So let's go ahead and take a better look at what this actually looks like in action. Alrighty guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to tackle this screw right here, okay? That's the guy we're after. What we're going to do is I'm going to take my tin foil with my kind of little pre-made hole cut out. And tin foil works really good, guys, because what I can do is I can place this right over the screw, mold it to whatever surface I need to mold it to, and hopefully you guys can kind of still see the screw protruding out of there, okay? And that's going to work really well. It's going to protect my frames, it's going to keep them from getting hot, or at least receiving that direct flame, okay? And that's going to stop it from scorching or ruining any sort of the finish on the carbon fiber or anything of that nature, okay? So I've already lit my torch up. Let's go ahead and let's heat that up real quick, okay? Now one thing you want to do, guys, is kind of keep that tin foil down, okay? Give it a, oops, careful for your fingers there, sorry. Burnt my fingers off there. And just, now, real quick, guys, I'm going to take my flame off while I talk to you here. This goes quick. Framework goes quick. Don't leave it on as long as you would head parts or tail parts, okay? Let's give it a quick heat. Just enough. Give it a real quick amount. And I feel good about right there. I mean, that screw is pretty damn hot. So let's turn our torch off. Now time to factor. Let's give this a real quick range. Now real quick, I'm going to look at my frames. And it looks like it's literally unaffected. So now as always, guys, when it's hot, don't be a wimp about it. I mean, give it a real quick torque, but don't strip out that head, okay? I'm actually going to turn my little socket here to ratchet mode. And I'm going to what I kind of do is I kind of ratchet it, and there it is right there, okay? Screw came out nice and easy. Alrighty, you guys, so essentially summing up the video here, we went through 3 different methods that this extreme Loctite remover procedure can be used, and it's my job as Freddy Can Fly to pass that information on to you guys so that you can do it without going through the trial and error process that I had to do myself, because I've broken a lot of stuff doing it, you guys. Overall, guys, to sum it up, there's really no other ways to remove Loctited screws that I can think of, at least. Aside from cutting a hole, a slit in it and using a flathead screwdriver to take it out. So I hope this video was really helpful to you guys. As always, please comment, please subscribe. Every comment you guys leave means the world to me, and I always try to respond if you ask questions as soon as possible. So that'll do it for today's video, guys, and thank you for watching. Remember, Freddy can fly, so can you. Bye-bye.